For decades, researchers have tried to find the cause of suicide, and most of the time end up just as puzzled as when they began their study. We know that heart disease is caused by high blood pressure and high cholesterol. Unfortunately, we can't point to any one factor, like high cholesterol, in suicide prevention. It's almost never caused by one stressful experience, but rather a constellation of negative experiences, events, and other factors that overcome an individual's ability to cope. Even more complicated is the fact that no two people experience bad events or experiences in the same way. What might be too much for one person to handle may be to another person a routine experience. This is why you are so important in preventing suicide. You know yourself and those around you better than anyone else. Being a little bit curious, and sometimes maybe even a little bit nosy, can be just the thing that saves a life.
Hi, I'm Gary Harder, the Executive Director of the Utah Department of Veterans and Military Affairs. Suicide prevention is more than preventing death. It's making sure the people around us have a reason to live. When our basic physical, emotional, and social needs are met, we are far better able to cope with the obstacles thrown our way, whatever they may be. It's imperative we invest in our communities and each other to prevent life-ending crises long before they start. This includes addressing discrimination in its many forms and striving to make mental health care more accessible and effective. On an individual level, the knowledge and skills you gain from the course will equip you to do your part in suicide prevention.
We all have times in life that we need help. It's a natural part of being human. But asking for help can be hard. Think about the things that might have stopped you from asking for help with something in the past. Maybe it hurt your pride, or you were afraid you would be too much of a burden. Or you were afraid it would result in a loss of respect or confidence within the military. Remember, those same feelings might be stopping someone in your life from admitting they need help. And in that situation, stepping up and taking the initiative to ask how someone is doing can, in some cases, be life-changing.
Many of us have encountered friends that are struggling. A few weeks ago, a fellow service member called me out of the blue and started apologizing for everything he'd done wrong over the past years. This was out of character for him, and he sounded distressed. I took that as a red flag that something was going on, and I turned off my TV and made sure I could give him my full undivided attention and asked him if everything was all right. He opened up to me about some things that have been going on, and just having someone listen to him seemed to de-escalate the situation. We were able to talk through it and identify others that can support him. I also knew he had firearms, so I helped him to identify people who could temporarily hold his firearms until he felt safe. He felt more at ease by the end of the call, but I still made sure to follow up and check in on him. Always remember, check up on your strong friends.
Deciding to get help is a tough decision. Often people are weighing a lot of things in the balance and trying to decide if it's worth the risk and if they're hurting bad enough or they should just tough it out. And unfortunately, that keeps a lot of people from getting help. One person in particular that I worked with really struggled to just make that first phone call. Once they reached out, they realized that they weren't going to be judged, they weren't going to be stigmatized or have opportunities taken away from them, but they realized that they were able to get support from both friends and family outside of the military, but also inside of the military. It really helped them as they were going through this to be able to reach out to other people they saw that were struggling and encourage them to get help too.